Hi, just thought we'd have a little look at some Venn diagrams questions. This first one that we're looking at is actually looked quite tricky, but isn't that bad. So we're going to go ahead and answer the question. We've got information about A and B, two events, and the easy way to do this is to draw a Venn diagram. So to do a Venn diagram, we begin with the big square, which represents the universe of everything that's happening. Inside that we draw a circle which represents event A and one which represents event B. Now, referring to the information that we're given, we know that the probability of A and not B is equal to 0.22. Sorry, that's not A and B. So, not A and B is this section here. This is in B, but not in A. This section fulfills that category. So we will know that that is 0.22. The next part over here, the probability of not A and not B, the probability of not A and not B represents everything that's not in A and not in B, so that is the outer section shaded here. Now I'm sure that there's a fill function that would do this more quickly and cleanly, but I can't find it straight away. Oh, it's that one. So we know that that entire section there is 0.18. The remaining part is A. So the first question says find the probability of A. That must be everything else that's left after we've excluded the things that are only in B and the things that are not in A or B. Now they come to 0.38. Doing subtraction, that tells us that the probability of A is equal to 1 minus 0.38, which is 0.62. Easy. The probability of A union B, that's the probability of A or B, is 0.62. Add 0.82. It's everything that's in either A or in B. So that's 0.82. The rest of this question we haven't covered yet, so I'm going to stop there and look at another. So a different question, set up differently. This time we don't have probabilities listed, but actual frequencies. B is the number of people who bicycle. Now, you should be able to tell that the number of people who bicycle is this section and this section added together. So altogether there are 9 people who bicycle. If you look, you can see that there are 8 people who take the train. It's important to recognise that the whole circle is what makes up the people in that group. Okay, let's try and answer the actual question. We need to understand the context of the question, what it's asking us about, and this is about people travelling to work. There are 25 people in our sample. It tells us that in the question. They bike, train or walk to school. 2 of the events are mutually exclusive. Write down which of they are, giving a reason. So, B and W don't overlap. There's no intersection between the two. Those are mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means if one happens, the other one definitely can't. In this case, there's no overlap between walking and bicycling. They're mutually exclusive. Next, determine whether B and T are independent. So, to work out if B and T are independent, we need to recognise whether the probability of B times the probability of T is equal to the probability of T and B. Okay, working this out, the probability of B is equal to 9 over 25. There are 9 people who bicycle out of 25 altogether. There are 8 people who take the train, and the probability that they do both is 5 out of 25. 9 over 25 times 8 over 25 is 72 over 625, which is not the same as 5 over 25, which is a fifth. Therefore, they are not independent. Okay, beautifully written. One person is chosen at random. Find the probability this person walks to work. Easy, 7 out of 25. Find the probability they travel to work by bicycle and train. That means the intersection, they have to take the bicycle and the train. That's 5 over 25. The last question we haven't covered, so we'll pause there. Okay, so another question. This time asks us to draw a Venn diagram based on some information. We have 100 people and 3 different types of exercise that we're interested in. Venn diagram, then we're going to need 3 overlapping circles. I'm going to draw a circle for run, a circle for swim, and a circle for cycle. Okay, this is going to be tricky, but here we go. Just in terms of the writing things in, okay, so let's start at the bottom of our list of information. In order to fill this in, we need to recognize what each section is. The center section is the overlap of all 3. There are 25 people who do that. The center section is the overlap of people who do all 3, as shaded there. That's 25 people. So let's try and write that in. 25. Oh, I'm very impressed with my writing skills. Okay, 35 people run and cycle. Now the people who run and cycle include the people who do all 3. So there are 10 people who will go into the section here. That section will be 10 people. So I shall write that in there. Altogether, the run and cycle overlap is 35 people. 35 people run and cycle, the total overlap is 35. That makes sense. The next thing we're going to look at is that 30 people swim and cycle. Swim and cycle is this overlap and this overlap. That consists of 30 people. So this section must be 5 people. Okay. There are 60 people who cycle altogether. We can see 60 people cycle up here. That total circle, adding together all of the cycle sections, must come to 60 altogether. We've got 30, 40 there, so this section will be 20. The total yellow area is all of the people who cycle. That comes to 60. Okay, good. We'll move on and look at now the overlap between swim and run. Swim and run should contain 40 people altogether. We've already used 25 in the overlap, which I will shade blue. So that means that the total for the whole of the blue section, as shown now, comes to 40. 40 people run and swim. The overlap is 40. That whole section, the whole overlap must be 40. So let's write that in. 25 there, add 15 comes to 40. So now if we look, 65 people all together go running. So the running section all together, all of that blue section is the run. There are 65 people who altogether who go running. So the total for that section must come to 65. We've already got 40, 50 people there. So the remainder is 15. Next, we need to look at the number of people who swim. The swim section consists of this bit, this bit, this bit, and the centre. And that contains 48 people. We've already used 15, add 25 is 40. We've already used 45 people, so there are 3 people who only swim. But that hasn't filled the whole thing. If you look at the start of the question again, it tells you that there are 100 people altogether. And there's still the outside section to complete. We've only counted 97 people in the centre. 97 isn't the same as 100. Sorry, I'll just double check that. I think it's 93. So there are 7 people in the section outside. Really important that you get that right. Do your adding. Be careful with the maths. Okay, thanks very much. Good luck.